Hello and welcome back to From the Be-All-End, the Burnley podcast. This is the debrief of Burnley 2, Leeds United 0. With me is Justin Connolly and Darren Bentley as we're going to go through this in a little bit more detail than we did in the rapid reaction straight after the whistle on Saturday. Gents, it's nice to talk about a win. There are rare moments in the Premier League. They are to be savoured, but you were both on Turf Moor yesterday. Justin, when you saw that team sheet at the start and saw that there was a probable change in approach, what was your reaction, and then how did you see the day as a whole?
Well, it's always difficult to puzzle out what the actual formation is from the lineup, isn't it? So I don't know. I like that shape a lot better. The one that we lined up with. I like that four at the back and the sort of two defensive midfielders. Although I did think they seemed to run through us a little bit too easily. I don't know if anybody else was slightly worried by that. I think with Florentino and Ugo Chukwu there, we should be a bit more solid. And I'm not sure that we were. But at the end of the day, the important thing is the 3 points, isn't it? It's just about the 3 points. I think if we hadn't got 3 points out of that game, you know, the season's starting to look a little bit bleak, isn't it? But now I'll take seven points from 8 games. That's good enough for me. I think we've got a decent platform, you know, to move on. I didn't particularly like the performance. I thought we played well for the first half hour or so, and then it was quite difficult to watch. But you know, Chuana's goal is the sort of moment that I go to football matches for, to see people do things like that. So I haven't got many complaints.
No, I mean, we will dissect a bit, but obviously enjoyable and a big 3 points. Darren, your overall impressions?
Yeah, a bit like Justin, really. I was pleasantly surprised that he ditched the 5 and went to the 4. We're not the only ones who've been saying it, but quite a few people have been saying for a while now that we need to be a little bit more adventurous, and Leeds was the perfect time to really just sort of get rid of that 5th defensive player and try and push a more attack-minded player onto the pitch. And as it happens, Chukwu comes up with one of the goals that sort of gets us the win. But to me, we played really well, I thought, for half an hour. As Justin said, I thought we played really well. We then really surrendered the initiative, I thought, completely. Went into a little bit of a shell. Whether that was deliberate or whether that was Leeds pressing us, I'm not too sure. Against better sides, I think we probably would have lost that game, or at least not won it. But at the end of the day, as Justin said, you know, we're hard to break down. We're a hard side to break down. Liverpool have struggled. Man United struggled. You know, when we get that defence right, and Steve was fantastic yesterday, I thought, alongside Tuanzebe, as were the fullbacks, to be fair, and the goalkeeper. He said a back 5 in many ways. I think we're a hard side to break down. As I think Chris has mentioned this before, we've got to get the advantage in games. If we get the advantage in games, that's something to hold on to. We seem to be a bit of a different side. Mm-hmm. And yesterday, you're right, Justin, it was all about the win. It was all about building confidence. And you go to Wolves next week now, and if you can get something there, you're right back in it again, aren't you?
Mm. Yeah, I think it's you know, we go to and fro about how exactly important that match was. You know, we've beaten Sunderland and we've beaten Leeds.
Yeah.
Both of who are above us in the league at the moment, but we've had that really tough start. And you look at the league table, and we're 2 points behind Newcastle United after the fixture list we were dealt with at the start of the season. And there is some promise there, but let's just talk. I mean, the back 4, back 5 thing, when I saw that team sheet, I thought, well, this is a massive test for Tuanzebe, because I had been wondering if the back 5 was partly because he didn't trust the 2 that he would have to pick to be enough in the centre of defence, and that having Laurent there was like an insurance policy. No Ekdal, and he goes with Tuanzebe, but I thought he had a really good game. I mean, Esteve looked like Championship Esteve again, didn't he? Helped by the fact that Leeds kept just banging balls into the box at his head, which he can deal with all day. But I thought Tuanzebe, you know, stepped up there really well. I mean, who else caught your eye, Justin, individually?
Oh, I mean, you've got to talk about Kyle Walker, haven't you? I mean, I think all reports of his demise are vastly over-exaggerated, aren't they? I mean, that cross was as good a cross as you'll see in the Premier League this season for our first goal. If any other player had done it for any other side, they'd be showing it on a loop on Match of the Day, wouldn't they? And then there was that moment when down the right hand side, just before Chuana's goal, where he just turned the afterburners on, and it looked like the Leeds defender was running backwards. Real
pace, wasn't it?
It was just extraordinary. I hope Thomas Tuchel's watching it, because he must be there and thereabouts if he keeps putting in performances like that.
Yeah, no, he was excellent, and he just buys himself time, doesn't he? As well, with his composure, he never seems hurried. That midfield three, we've talked, Daz, about that there are three best midfielders. Do we get them on the field? Do we have a formation that allows us to get us on the field? Hugo Chukwu seemed to be playing a bit more forward of the three, especially in that good half an hour. And to me, Shorty is a bit more than just a defensive midfielder. He has a few things he can do in the final third. Cullen, I thought, was outstanding. The one I'm still not 100% sure about performance-wise was Florentino. I thought he shows his class, but there's moments where he looks to me like he's not really up to speed with it all yet. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't want to say lightweight, but I was going to bring that point up. To me, of the three, he's the one who's not yet hit his strides, I think. There are moments in game when you look at him and think, my God, he's a Burnley player, I can't believe this. But then he disappears from a game for long periods. Yeah. But you look at, especially alongside Josh Cullen, who just was back to his metronomical best back there, just pinging passes left, right and centre, anchoring that midfield, breaking from midfield at times as well. I thought it was a masterclass from Cullen in there. But you're right about Florentino. We all called for him to be in the side because that debut he had sort of caught everybody's eye. And I think it's the right three in there now. It's a shame for Josh Laurent because he's done nothing wrong, but I think he's not going to get into that three. And there will still be a time, I think, when we need the five. If we're playing against the big guns again, you can see with what happened against Liverpool and to a maybe lesser extent at Man United, that he'll go back to that five again if he needs to and sacrifice an attacking player. But against the sides that we need to beat, we need that three in there, I think. It gives us a nice anchor with the two, and Ogachukwu linked well, I thought, going forwards. The wide players probably weren't quite on song yesterday. It was one of Jaden's worst games, I thought, for us. And the less said about Jacob Lawson, the better, I think, at the minute, because he didn't take his chance. But, those three, as poorly, I'll say poorly lightly, but as poorly he played Florentino, he has to be in that midfield. You have to play that three, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. What's your impressions of him, Justin?
I agree. I think he's clearly got the class, hasn't he? I think they said he would be the best tackler in the Premier League, didn't they, when he came? And I think he's sort of shown a little bit of signs of that. But like you say, I think he's just a little bit off the pace of the game. And I think those holes that we saw Leeds maraud through every now and again, I think were probably down to the fact that he was just a little bit all at sea here and there. But I think, he's clearly got it. He clearly has got the quality. So, we just stick with him until he gets up to speed, don't we? That's the key. We just stick with it until he gets up to speed. I thought I was a little bit disappointed by the last hour of that game. I think Daz alluded to it a little bit that, against a better side, we definitely wouldn't have come away with the 3 points. They created quite a lot, didn't they? And they really we ceded control of that game to them completely. And I don't like that sitting back and defending. If we hadn't got that second goal, those 7 minutes of injury time would have been a lot longer than the 7 minutes.
You better get used to it on the park, yeah.
Yeah, well, it felt a little bit like a throwback to last season, really, didn't it? It was kind of a championship style Burnley that really, But I don't think we were quite as resolute in defence as we were last season, or as we've been in games. I think really, I hate to say it because I like the goals came from two moments of genuine quality, as good as anything else you'll see. But I think Leeds lost that game more than we won it.
I think a bit of both, Justin. I think a bit of both. I think moments of quality win you games. So I think we did enough to win it in that respect, whereas Leeds couldn't hit a barn door from 6 yards.
Yeah, we had the quality, but they didn't.
They had Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
And that's what made the difference was those 2 moments of genuine quality from players who are capable of doing that. And we haven't seen that too much, have we, from Burnley over the last, we haven't seen that sort of quality come through as it has in that. So, that's a good sign going forward that we've got that in our locker, and we can defend, and then we can get somebody who's a match winner who can do something like Tuanzebe did with that strike. It's encouraging.
It felt to me a little bit like it's probably as close as we've had under Parker to a Sean Dyche victory, but with a sprinkle of class in the team. Yeah. I don't mean we didn't have class under Dyche, but do you know what I mean? There was, it feels to me like there's a little bit more. It's Dyche plus, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that win was definitely one that, was won on the training ground. I think there was a lot of hard work put into that training ground. We never stopped running for a minute, do we? We run to the end. I mean, at the end of the day, Hannibal's made a great tackle then, and he's right in someone's face. We want to be nasty like that sometimes, and we haven't been in the past sometimes. So I think it's good to see that side of us.
Keeper made some good saves as well. I thought Dubravka was excellent. He pulled it out for us when we needed it the most. But I mean, they missed some sitters, didn't they? Let's be honest. They did create some good chances. If they'd had their shooting boots on, it would have been a different game.
Well, there's that Aronson opportunity early on where Dubravka gets a hand to it and he goes on the post, but really, he should have buried that, shouldn't he? And then Jack Harrison, I think it was still 1-0 when Harrison gets that volley at the back post where he goes into the ground rather than trying to just drill it. They did have openings. And I think you're right that we did get opened up a little bit more than we would like to have been, I think. But I mean, the other side of it is, of course, with no Foster there, we saw Zian Flemming in the number 9 role. Zian Flemming, sorry, and in the number 9 role. Justin, what did you make of it? I said to Woody yesterday, it's a thankless task being number 9 in this Burnley side. But what did you make of his contribution?
I thought he was good. I mean, I think if we're going to play that way, we need somebody the ball's going to stick to a little bit more than it does to Foster. We're not going to get the space in behind the defenders that Foster needs to run into because he's all about the pace, isn't he? You can't hit him with a ball and expect him to hold the play up and bring others in. And I think Flemming can do that. I said it a lot last season. I'd say it again now. I would like to see him play a little bit deeper with a striker in front of him because I think if he can hold up the ball for the wide players to get onto, he's better off doing it a little bit further up the pitch and get somebody beyond him. As we know, his success prior to joining us was as a number 10. He scored a lot of goals from that position as well. He's a bit more of a sort of smack it in from 25 yards than a goal poacher in the box, isn't he? So I don't know whether I think he does. I think he does that job well when he's asked to do it. But I'm not sure he's playing in his best position or the position that at least will get the best out of him.
Your thoughts, Daz, Flemming?
Yeah, I think the problem we haven't solved the striker conundrum really. I don't think. I quite like Zian, but in a Scott Parker team, a Burnley number 9 is going to have to do the best of his work with back to goal, I think. Because we're not a team who gets wingers on the overlap and zaps crosses into the box. We're a team that's intricate through the midfield and likes to thread little balls. And hence Foster does a bit of his work with back to goal. Zian was the same on Saturday. I think having to come deep to get it sometimes and pick it up and then lay it off. And that's just a number 9 under a Scott Parker team, I think. I think it was a real eye-opening decision to leave Broya on the bench and bring Barnes on at the end. That said a lot for me about where Broya is in the pecking order. And I think Barnes was there at the end. He's obviously said to Barnes, get on there and win a few cheap free quicks, get us up the pitch a bit for the last 5 minutes.
Which he did.
Which he did. But because of Broya's being left on the bench, Zian never looking like he was going to score a goal, Foster being Foster, we're no nearer solving that conundrum to me, and that could still be our downfall. As you said, I think, Simon, on our previous podcast, I think we have to get to January and reassess that number 9 because we're not going to, I don't think we're going to survive with what we've got up front. Because you can't rely on moments of magic like that every week.
Well, if you're not going to score goals with your strikers, then you want your midfielders, your wingers to come in with goals, and that's obviously what happened yesterday. But You're right. I mean, I think it is the, the two concerns we had after the window were the central defence and the striker one. The striker probably still there. I feel a bit better about the central defensive situation, having seen Tuanzebe yesterday and thinking like, okay, this does look like a guy who came through at Man United and played quite a lot in the Premier League for Ipswich and so on. Like we can calm down about him. He was a bit of an unknown factor, wasn't he? But he looked decent. But the number 9 thing does have to be sorted, I think, in January. It's one way or another. Justin?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree that I don't think we've got enough there. I think when we've seen Brozier play, I think he's looked okay. I think he's looked like he's got a bit about him, and that if he can stay fit and a bit like Florentino, if he can get up to speed with it, he might be able to make a contribution. But I think what I've seen of him so far, I think he's miles off the pace. And but I like a few touches that I've seen him make, and I think he's, people speak very highly of him, that he's got the potential, and I think you can sort of see that. But yeah, I think how long do you wait? That's the question. Yeah. How long do you give them to get up to speed? How long do you put up with that? And it's ridiculous to imagine that Ashley Barnes was a better bet than him. For the last 10 minutes of that game against Leeds, wasn't it? I mean, if he sat on the bench and he sees Barnes getting on ahead of him, that's not going to help his confidence much, is it?
Maybe he is the January answer. Maybe an Armando Broja who's half a stone lighter, 6 months fitter and injury free might be the answer. But
that's got to be what they're working towards, isn't it? It's got to be. I mean, they haven't brought him in for no reason. They haven't brought him in to have him, sit on the bench and not play. So they must have confidence that they can get him where he needs to be, and we do need him. And if it's not going to be him, then like everyone says, it's going to have to be somebody else in January.
Is that an early entrance for Armando Broja? He's like a new signing in January. It would be good if he. It would be good if he. I mean, the hard thing is, how do you get up to speed? Like you were saying about Florentino, you've got to play him to get him up to speed. Broja in that position, we can't afford to be playing somebody just to get him up to speed. It's
not in games like that, maybe against Leeds, where you've got a chance of winning the game. You want to be creating chances. You want somebody the ball's going to stick to. But to be honest, what I've seen of Foster so far this season, I don't know whether Broja would have made any less of a contribution than he's made so far, because he's not been that impressive, has he?
No.
I'll say it was a big game for a week. It was a big win at the weekend for Steve. I'll get that. Because I think he needed that. He'd had a couple of rocky games, and I think he needed a big performance just to get his belief back and his confidence back. And that was a superb performance from him again, I thought, at the weekend.
Yeah, no, I thought he was excellent. The one thing I did wonder about with that formation, we didn't see as much of Hartman bombing forward from left back, did we? He was with the 5 at the back does allow for that, but he was a lot more orthodox left back, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, I thought that the whole after the first half hour, the whole performance by the whole 10 outfield players was very defensive, wasn't it? It was very passive. There was not, apart from the odd break here and there wasn't a lot going forward. So from either side, and like as Daz said before, the wide players were almost non-existent. I mean, Anthony and Brun Larsen, they barely got into the game, did they? So it's no surprise that the fullbacks didn't get forward either, because that's not the game we were playing, was it?
No, I agree with Daz. I don't think Brun Larsen took his opportunity at all. I mean, that was very anonymous display, and you would think Chalner's going to be knocking on Parker's door saying, "Can I start at Wolves?"
It was a strange sign. I mean, we can look back in hindsight at lots of things, can't we? But bringing Brun Larsen back was a bit of a strange one, wasn't it? I don't quite know, when we had a plethora of wide players anyway, quite what we expected from Brun Larsen. Whether it was a cheap option, whether it was a chairman's decision, I don't know what it was, but it just seemed a strange one.
Yeah, it did seem a bit like one of those Alan Pace, let's bring back a Burnley legend sort of signing, But I mean, I will point out, as I did at the time, that he was our top scorer in the Premier League last time around. So,
Yeah.
That might have influenced things a little bit.
But yeah, talking about pecking orders, Marcus Edwards has found himself behind him, hasn't he? Which is, I think, when we signed Brun Larson, we were presuming that Edwards was going to be playing quite a lot in the team, and wondering why we needed to sign another winger. But Edwards has been nowhere near things, really, has he?
And you put your faith in the manager and the coaching staff and things like this, because they see them every day on the training ground. And if he's not performing, he's not in the squad. Did I hear someone say Mike Trezor?
Yeah, there's more than one. There's more than one of those, isn't there?
Yeah, there is.
Before we wrap up, I just thought I'd throw this one at you. We just watched before recording this Liverpool-Manchester United, a game which I thoroughly enjoyed as a neutral.
Yeah.
Blood and thunder, lots of mistakes, excitement. Could have gone any way of the three directions in the last 10, 15 minutes. I'm just wondering, that we moaned on this podcast over the last couple of years a bit about Pep ball and about the over-tactical football that we've seen creep into English football and change it really with all the foreign coaches and so on. But I'm just wondering, this season, not just that one game in isolation, but this season in general, are we seeing a little bit of free thinking football coming back, less system-obsessed football, Justin?
There's definitely a little bit more hoofball going on, isn't there? I don't think United's keeper, played a short pass throughout the entire game. He was just kicking it long. I actually was thinking during the game that I'm absolutely thrilled to see what I like to call the Brian Miller kickoff return. Where they all sort of, about 5 or 6 of them all bomb down the wing. They knock it back to the keeper and he knocks it long down. I mean, that obviously has been out of fashion for a while, but it's definitely making a comeback this season. We did it. I think even Liverpool did it today. And I was thinking to myself, have I ever seen anybody score doing that or get anything out of it? But I don't think I ever have, but I love to see that sort of thing coming back.
I'll tell you what's coming back. I've seen a couple of times this season. He's actually even more direct than that, Justin. He's taking the kick off and just kicking it straight out of play, almost like finding touch in rugby.
Yeah, because I tell you what, there is everyone's got a long throw now as well, haven't they, this season?
Well, there's another stat for you. I saw a stat the other day. There's about 75% of long throws this season from last season already. 70% of last season's total long throws in the Premier League already, and we're only in October.
Yeah. Well, if you can do that, it's like a corner, isn't it? And if you can, if you've got somebody who can throw it in to the edge of the box, you've got, it's
Not
like
sure how many goals they scored from them, but that's another stat.
No.
But it all feels like a bit less chessboard, doesn't it?
It's like when you get a corner. As soon as you get a corner, the crowd goes, "Go on!" And there's about 1% of goals scored from corners. Yeah,
you're right though, Sam. It does feel a bit less kind of tactical. It does feel. I mean, the subs that Arne Slot made in that game, as they were saying on the commentary, he ended up like with sort of 4-2-4 formation, which is something I don't think we've seen for a long time. But it's about getting the ball forward and about creating chances, isn't it now? But everyone else down the divisions is still playing pet ball. They're going to have to catch up next season, aren't they?
But bringing it back to us, by the way, I'm talking of substitutes. I think Scott Parker's subs have been really good this season, generally. I don't think he's made many mistakes in his substitutions. A lot of them have been pragmatic, don't get me wrong, but he seems to have done well, I think, bringing people on at right times.
I don't know about taking Ian Flemming off and bringing Joshua around on though. I don't. I mean, he did bring Barnes on fairly soon afterwards. That to give us another striker, but
try and make 2 substitutions in 2 windows to break a bit of time down.
There's also a matter we should probably discuss briefly before we finish. The police are looking into allegations of an incident involving a Burnley player. It's been reported as well as possibly something involving Hannibal. Did we see anything? Do we know what this is about? Or
no, I didn't. I mean, I think I know the incident they're talking about, but I'm far too far away to have seen what went on. So I don't know.
Hannibal was fans, was it?
Yeah, I think so. I was halfway back up the ginnel when that might have happened. But if anybody is going to get involved like that, it's going to be Hannibal, isn't it? Because he just gets in people's faces and annoys fans and players alike, doesn't it? So that's an investigation they're going to have to follow through. But the tunnel now. But the strange thing is, the tunnel's at the other side now. It shouldn't even be going anywhere near the Leeds fans. Unless you wanted to go and goad them, of course, which is a different thing altogether. So yeah, that's one.
Which you're perfectly entitled to do when you've beaten them 2-0. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and also it's quite a modern thing, isn't it? When the police put out a statement saying we are aware of an allegation, it doesn't actually mean anything's happened, does it? It just, I mean, it means they're aware of an allegation. They're obliged to sort of look into it, aren't they? So we don't.
It'll be something and nothing, and it'll disappear.
I know it's a separate incident, but we're waiting for a result on it, and we're still waiting for Osmajic at Preston. He might play the season out before he gets any problems.
Yeah. But all in all, we end the weekend with a bit of a sort of spring in our step and a bit of optimism looking ahead to Wolves. I mean, there's those games, we have to win those games, don't we? We can't go through the season saying that losing to Liverpool and Man United isn't going to define our season, but beating teams like Leeds could define our season.
Could. Yeah, absolutely. Those teams around and about us at the bottom, the promoted teams, you've got to be taking points off them at home, haven't you? I mean, and we weren't that far away from taking points off other sides this season. So, like I said earlier, 7 points from 8 games. I think I'll take that at this stage. It's a good platform to build on, but we've got to keep building on it. We've got to keep getting better.
Yep.
Yeah, if you don't get a result at Wolves. Yeah, if you don't get a result at Wolves, you just nullify Saturday's result for me. You've got to back that up now against these sides. A side like Wolves who haven't won a game yet, must be going out every game worried about conceding the first goal and then where the crowd are going to go and what's going to happen beyond that. So you've got to go on the front foot at Wolves and try and get ahead in the game. And as we've just shown against Leeds, if we do that against the bang average sides in this league, we're a hard side to break down.
Excellent. Right, well, let's look forward to it. We'll be back with you to look ahead to that Wolves game later in the week. Until then, thanks very much, and up the Clarets.